This time on Video Game Tango, we have leaks from Bioshock 4, and Josh and I have a bunch of fantastic indie games shown at Pax West 2022.
Hi, I'm Josh, and I spoiled early at the Yacht Club offering.
My name's Andy. Gang, gang, bitch. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Video Game Tango.
We are back.
We are back. We're down a man. We got Weird Al joining us today.
Well, I mean, honestly, dude, we had so many games to talk about tonight. Well, I mean, they drew sticks, they drew straws. Nick got the short one, so he's out. We kept Weird Al. He won the staring contest. That's really how it came down. But we have so many games to talk about. There's only room for two of us tonight.
Poor audio listeners are not going to know what we're talking about when we're talking about Weird Al, but
that's fine.
He's here with us, at least in spirit. Let's get to the big one.
There was a leak, so to speak.
There was. So there have been leaks about Bioshock 4. Whether they're substantiated or not has yet to be seen. This is kind of the same case, but we're getting more leaks. It's not known that this leaker is like incredibly reliable, but he's been right about some stuff previously, and it seems like he has a relatively credible source.
He's got the skinny.
He seems to know what he's talking about. Not only that, but he's not the first person to leak this stuff, but it's the most comprehensive leaks that we've seen so far. And he does confirm, or not confirm, but he does clarify when things seem to be substantiated or a little bit more likely to happen as far as leaks go. Oh. The guy goes by Oops Leaks, at Oops Leaks on Twitter.
That's a fun name.
Yeah. So, it's all about Bioshock 4 this week, and he says, do not take most of this information at face value. I thought for a long time whether it was worth sharing all of this at all, but a large number of people crave for at least some information from me. So he says, let's start with what I know for sure. I'll go over it again with a couple of clarifications. The further you read this thread, the more likely the information given in it, in my opinion. The origin. The logo and internal presentation slides posted by me come from the 2020 Slack Messenger data breach. So there was a data breach into from game developers for Bioshock 4, and some information leaked, but it seems really like concept art, and just getting into the development of Bioshock 4. Nothing set in concrete at the time of the leak. That's just when we started getting the whispers of Bioshock 4 because we got a little bit of internal leaked art. So he says, all this, as I understand it, is the stage for early concept and pre-production of the game. The source confirmed the legitimacy of these images. The announcement is, according to my information, the game should have been announced the beginning of this year. I also did not rule out the possibility of the game's appearance at TGA 21, based on Jeff's words. That's Jeff Keighley from the Video Game Awards, or the Game Awards. Regarding his dream of announcing a new Bioshock game at TGA. He also stated that the show would have an announcement that was agreed upon for 2 years, and also considering the very date of the presentation, which took place exactly 2 years after the official development announcement. I thought it was a hint, but that never happened. The announcement of the game was postponed due to staff reductions inside the studio, which lost about 40 employees in just 2 months, including leads. He wasn't the only one to report it. He also received an early information about the game's Netflix adaptation, including the date of the official announcement, and scheduled a tweet about development problems for the exact same date and time just in case, not knowing if it's real or not, and it worked out. So he did leak some of the information for the Bioshock Netflix series. At the moment, he doesn't have an approximate information from the announcement date of the game. According to T2 reports, it should be released no later than the end of 2024. We can see the announcement as early as the next PlayStation showcase. So they're expecting something to be shown from Bioshock 4 at the next PlayStation showcase. And if we know anything about it, it's probably going to be like end of Q1, beginning of Q2 of next year, 2023. And it says maybe this was an agreement between 2K and PlayStation, which was previously reported by Special Nick, following Jeff's dream at TGA 2022 or any random date. The game itself is not a PS5 exclusive in any form. The game, they are not trying to finish it ASAP. The whole chain from the studio itself to 2K and T2 is concerned about the quality of the final product. It's still Bioshock with the same concept that doesn't try to massively reinvent, rethink, or reboot the basics of previous games. The release window will not be announced until the developers are sure about the exact date in order to avoid any delays and polish all the nuances. The studio has returned to the previous number of employees and continues to hire new staff. He's received confirmation that the game will be based in Antarctica. An open world with a main story that has multiple endings. Allegedly, the theme of aggregate states of water plays a huge role in the plot and lore, which will be more extensively revealed through side quests. He then goes on to say, the art style and in-game graphic design is similar to Deathloop. It has 1960s, the British invasion and counterculture vibes. Style is psychedelic and trippy. He says, I guess the music is too. He heard about a solid soundtrack and a female protagonist. Still don't know if Shy Man is back. The combat system will be diversified with various utilities and combination of abilities. The terrain will also have an impact on the conduct of combat. Some familiar characters or their alternative versions will return. The game is much larger than all the previous parts. Moving on to less likely things he's heard, the people who contacted him did not provide any data confirming their information, but he pulled out what seemed to be the most plausible in any case. Everything that you read next is most likely complete bullshit. So he says, he goes on further to talk about the setting and how the setting may be two camps trying, like you might be between two different Russians, warring Americans, factions, potentially.
The Danish and the Canadians.
Well, and I'll just read this. He received information expanding on previous tweets. It says there are really two cities, the Upper Borealis and the lower one, Aurora, named after the cruiser that played an iconic role in the communist revolution in the Russian Empire, hiding under the layers of ice. A Soviet city that was completely built and maintained by the slave labor of prisoners from the camps. The protagonist is allegedly one of them. In the course of the story, you enter the prosperous city of Borealis. The goal is to unite the two cities. So he says this is the only story-wise information that he can consider even a little plausible, but still says to take it with an enormous grain of salt. So nothing is concrete, but it does seem to be like he is looking further into his sources as to what their sources are and how legitimate they may be and how plausible it is to be. Now, of course, game studios, especially with a game as big as Bioshock 4, are more than willing to throw out random plot points and stuff to people seeking leaks just to throw off the crowd. For sure. You know, it's like leaving parts of a movie out of your trailer or creating a trailer that has nothing to do with your movie. That kind of thing happens all the time to game journalists in the games industry when they're probing for data, especially when they're looking for leakers.
What I actually find more in, like, I mean, any leaks about the setting or the combat, like that's all, that's really cool. But what I actually found the most interesting nugget, and probably actually something you might be able to hang your hat on, is how the game's being developed. We're not in a rush. We're hiring more new staff, so we're not facing that crunch, right? That time crunch.
Well, and that's been kind of made clear by the fact that we've seen nothing concrete about Bioshock.
It's probably going to come out in 2024. Like, I mean, right? And it's like we're not in a hurry. We're not looking to reinvent the wheel. We're going to just do what's been, like, we're going to do what we know how to do well here, right? And it's just, we're taking our time. It's good. To me, that speaks of good. It's going to be good. I trust that the story and their setting is going to hold up just fine under those nuggets, those previous nuggets we heard. The rest is all gravy. Whatever they come up with, it's going to be great.
Probably. You hope so, right? Yeah, it's Bioshock.
So. I mean, like, just how it's being developed feels like a win on that. Like, I like the sound of that. You know, it's a bit different in the current game development climate to be like, no, we're not in a hurry.
Those are big britches to fill when it comes to making a Bioshock game. I hope they tread lightly. They take their time. They make an A++ game, right? Because that's what people are going to expect out of Bioshock. So with that said, and all the leaks talked about.
With leaks, we have actual good, hard games.
We sure do. These are, I don't know about hard, but they're games.
So we have a bunch of offerings this evening from PAX West 2022, and this is their indie games showcase. Now, we've each picked a few games to share with everyone tonight, and I have the splendid honor of kicking us off tonight. So my first offering is Terror Endless Night. Now, this comes from Unseen Silence. It's going to be released on Steam, and it's going to be in Q1 of 2023. Now, what you're going to be doing in this game is you are a rescue crew. You've been sent out after the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror. Now, they went to look for the Northwest Passage, a secret route that's going to get you from the Atlantic to the Pacific, but cutting through the Arctic. As we all know, the sea, she be a harsh mistress. And this rescue mission, you have, it has gone afoul. And so what this is it's a turn-based strategy game where you're going to have to face the sea and the cold, and you're going to be making hard decisions that affect the life of your crew and whether or not y'all make it out. So for our audio listeners only, the sound cue on this, and when I saw this game, immediately captured my attention. Its art kind of has that, reminded me very quickly of a more polished, darker Dungeons kind of a feel to its art, a little gritty, a little scary. I feel like this one's going to be a cool one, and it's inspired by true creepy ass events. So fun.
Good times.
Good times.
Next up on my list, so one of my top picks is Signalis. Signalis is a classic survival horror experience set in a dystopian future where something happens. I can't read that. Where humanity has uncovered a dark secret, unravel a cosmic mystery, escape terrifying creatures, and scavenge an off-world government facility as Elster, a technician replica searching for her lost dreams. It's made by Rose Engine. It's going to be available on Steam October 27th, 2022. And it is very reminiscent of the older Resident Evil titles. Now, it's from a top-down perspective, so it's not exactly like the third-person over the shoulders perspective. But it reminds me a lot of the early Resident Evils in especially its puzzles. Opening up lockers to find gems, putting gems in a statue that gives you a key card, and then using that key card to open up a door that gives you some kind of secret to another part of an area that you didn't even necessarily have to go to progress in the game. It's kind of the vibes that I get with this. Not only that, but honestly, if you all remember the door opening sequences from, say, like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, it looks like they're back in Signalis. Really cool visuals. I really like the way the game looks. And then if it's going to deliver a similar experience in the survival horror genre as the early Resident Evil games, those are my favorite Resident Evil games. I did love Resident Evil 4. It was a big departure from where we had seen the series go before. But 1, 2, 3, the Code Veronicas of the Resident Evil universe. I loved those games.
Those were the first games that scared the shit out of me.
For sure.
Those were the first games that scared the shit out of me.
Now, my only hope is this isn't using tank controls like the early Resident Evils did. I can't guarantee whether it does or not yet. We haven't seen a whole lot of gameplay out there. But what we can see from the gameplay trailer, at the very least, is it looks like it's relatively slow, and most of the work you're going to be doing is shooting a zombie or two here and there. Well, in this case, I think they're like androids of some sort, and doing some solid little puzzles. Yeah.
It looks fun.
For sure.
Now, my next offering is Manor Lords. Now, this bad boy comes from Slavic Magic. I mean, that's the name of the, yep, it comes from Slavic Magic, and it's on Steam, and it is to be announced. Now, this is a strategy game, a medieval strategy game that's going to that combines deep organic and realistic city building with large-scale tactical battles. So right away, I love building a base. I love that city management style kind of a game. And like for the, again, audio listeners, you're not seeing this, but the thing that stood out for me at the end, if anyone's played Shogun, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Getting those dudes lined up in a battle formation, you get to pick what's going on there. There's a lot of crafting. I mean, this game hit me on several levels. I like the aesthetic of it with the medieval kind of a feel. It's great. I think this one's going to be a win. So looking forward to more information on this one.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The Shogun games, Shogun 2, those were both Total War titles.
Yes.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Is they didn't have the ability to like zoom in on your kingdom, right?
Yeah. No,
it was all isometric.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this looks like it's a little bit more up close and personal. Like there's a little bit more management to be done in the area that you're creating, right? A little bit more micromanagement. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool. Like we're getting in this gameplay trailer, it's pre-alpha footage, but we're getting like up close and personal with some of the townsfolk and what seems to be their day to day. And it looks like you can assign them tasks and get like that micromanaging, almost like an RTS feel.
Right. It really does have that kind of an RTS feel, and it's combining. And again, it's like combining that base building with the battle.
Yeah.
Like I think that's. Man, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be a win. I think so, buddy. Next up on my list, this game looks like it might be huge. Now, I had a hard time not giving this my like number one pick. I only didn't do that because I'm trying not to like just do Metroidvanias, which is it's my bread and butter. I love my Mega Mans, my Metroids, my Castlevanias, and their clones. Man, there were straight up in this showcase quite a few of them that were primo. Mm-hmm. They were and like some of them were straight up. This is stylized after Mega Man
for sure.
The flavor of that. This is stylized in the flavor of that, and it's like. I mean, yeah, it must have been tough for you to pick.
Oh, for sure. And don't get me wrong, we are going to be talking about some Metroidvanias. You can't talk retro, or you can't talk indie games without talking Metroidvanias.
Absolutely.
But this is Cookie Cutter. Cookie Cutter, love turns to rage and chainsaws in Cookie Cutter, a techno-pop, punk 2D hand-drawn Metroidvania set to the backdrop of a bleak and beautiful dying world. Become Cherry, a rage-driven android on a quest to rescue her beloved creator, Dr. Shinji Fallon, from the clutches of a deranged mastermind. This is made by Subcult Joint Limited. It's going to be available on Steam and additional platforms. The release date is to be announced 2023, so we are looking at a release date next year. But this is a hyper-stylized, hand-drawn, 2D platform Metroidvania. And when I mean hand-drawn, I mean like many, many frames. Very smooth animation, high-quality animation. Like we're talking modern Warner Bros. Style of animation here. The death sequences, the like super moves that you get to do, the bosses look fucking crazy. Just the amount of stuff on screen at any given time, and these death moves and finisher moves are just fucking sick. Also, the entire theme of it is just a mishmash of androids and robots and versus like the biosphere, right? Like there's a lot of the levels look very organic in that they may be even made out of body parts. We're looking at using a chainsaw as one of the main weapons, melee combat almost exclusively from what we can tell, and it looks like. Visually speaking, it's extremely satisfying to watch, and we're talking like Cuphead levels of animation coming from this. So I'm really excited to see this one and how it turns out. So check out Cookie Cutter. I highly recommend you check out their Steam page because the trailer looks just fucking sick.
When this bad boy drops, everyone's going to see it because it's going to be the only thing on fucking Twitch for like 5 solid days.
Maybe.
Dude, the art looks fucking phenomenal.
It does. This is looking very, like, honestly, as far as polish goes, this is looking almost AAA. This is looking AAA.
It looks
this may
great.
be AAA plus. I mean, as far as the animation goes, we are looking at Hollow Knight. We're looking at Shovel Knight, like super quality, and not even Shovel Knight because Shovel Knight's pixel art. This is all hand drawn. So
it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Ori and the Blind Forest level of care looks like it was taken into this.
From what we can see from the gameplay trailer, the movement looks fucking tight.
Yes,
tight
for shizzle.
All right, so I think that means it's my turn again.
Sure is, bud.
Guys, I bring to you Ghost Song. Now, Ghost Song is from Old Moon. It's being released on Steam. And now, guys, this one comes out fairly soon here, November 3rd of 2022. Now, you are on the desolate moon of Lorien. A long, dormant, and dead suit awakens from slumber. Journey beneath the surface of an atmospheric 2D adventure of self-discovery, ancient mysteries, and cosmic terror. Explore winding caverns and acquire new abilities to unearth the alien world's long-buried secrets. So speaking of Metroidvania, now this one seemed... again, the movement seemed really tight on it. I really liked all of how the combat action, it seems fast-paced. And this honestly reminded me of playing Super Metroid when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
I saw, and again, the animation on this is super fucking tight. I love all the creepy, dark, alien atmosphere of the world. So again, and with a soonish release date, I'm excited to pick this bad boy up.
For sure.
Feels retro as fuck.
Yeah, dude, this again is right up my alley. The visuals look stunning, and I can't wait to play this as well. And we talked about Metroidvanias and how we weren't going to try to overfeature them too much.
Well, let's back to back.
So Go Song, I mean, like Go Song, you have, like, you as a gamer, if you play on PC and you've been on Steam recently, you've probably seen Ghost Song. They've been showcasing it quite a bit up on the front page of Steam. And if you were to see the main cover art for Ghost Song, you'd recognize it. I mean, the main character is a very recognizable character. Even if you don't know where it's from, I'm willing to bet that if you went to the Steam page for Ghost Song, you would absolutely have seen this before if you use Steam regularly. So definitely something to look out for. In the same vein, I have Slave Hero X. Slave Hero X is a stylish 2.5D character action game set in the biopunk world of Slave Zero, 1999.
Oh,
sorry, I had the wrong image up on screen. Run and slash your way through a dystopian future in this character action game, which will resonate with fans of Devil May Cry, Strider, and Guilty Gear. So 2.5D combat, but what we've seen so far is hardcore Metroidvania, like side scroller beat 'em up.
Yeah.
Now it definitely seems to be less platformy, so I wouldn't classify it as necessarily Metroidvania, but a side scrolling beat 'em up for sure. Now, when they talk about Devil May Cry, this is definitely reminds me of, at least kind of in the style of Devil May Cry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it looks super fucking cool. From what I can tell, it looks like you're in a mech suit, and so are the bad guys, or at least some kind of super suit. In a 2.5D, adventure beat 'em up 2.5D game.
Yeah. So it screams. I was trying to think of the name, and you said Devil May Cry. It screams Devil May Cry because it looks like you're like going to be combo building, right? Yeah. It's all about like getting those hits in,
keeping enemies, up in the air. Your aerial attacks are probably going to be doing more damage, and that kind of thing. But I want to point out something the trailer brings up is it's written by Miles Luna of Rooster Teeth fame. He is the co-creator of Ruby, so you can kind of see like some of the art stylings of Ruby in this a little bit. It's certainly more adult themed than Ruby was. Definitely more violent, a little bit more blood than you got in Ruby. But the fact that Miles Luna is on it gives me hope as far as the story is concerned, because that dude is a pretty damn good writer.
And you know what maybe not the art style, but like the graphic style of this feels to me is like prime Street Fighter 2 kind of style looking graphics and stuff in the background and going like it honestly it tickles a little nostalgia.
Sure.
Like just saying, I mean it's new stuff, so it's nice when you can get something new and get a nostalgia tickle too.
For sure.
Like that. Now my next game fits right in with the kind of like gaming theme I've been feeling. I'm bringing Sons of Valhalla. As Sons of Valhalla, this one is coming to us from Pixel Chest. Guess what kind of art style it uses? Yeah. Now, it's going to be on Steam. It's to be announced. Now, Sons of Valhalla is a strategy and base building game. You know it's in my jam, y'all. So it's set in the Viking Age. You're going to be building fortresses. You're laying siege. You're leading, laying siege to your enemy strongholds. You're leading armies, and you're raiding England, son. If anybody deserves it, it's the English.
It's the English.
So you're going to be taking you and your Viking brethren across England, attacking the forts, building your own. Really putting that Dane law to work. Now, guys, this is all for those history buffs out there. If you're, I'm throwing out keywords for you. Listen in. But this game, the pixel art looks fucking amazing. If it has an epic sounding score to go along with this shit, this is gonna be choice. There's Valkyrie. I mean, dude, it looks really cool. But the art jumped at me right away. You're able to get a good amount of gore and violence in every pixel. I don't know how they did it.
But it looks good.
It looks fucking great. It looks fucking great. I love it.
For sure. Now, next up on my list, we've got Galahad 3093.
Oh man, this one jumped out at me right away.
Yeah, so it's a tactical hero shooter where knights of Arthurian legend clash in giant mechanized lances. Lances are the names of their robots. Go fast or go strong, but always bring the heat as you boost, skim, and battle across 12v12 vertical sci-fi arenas. Discover your ultimate lance or just drop it in play. It's made by Simutronics Corp. It's on Steam for early access, but the full release is to be announced. Now, from the trailer, we're looking at a lot of third-person perspective kind of action, but it is supposed to be a first-person game. Now, you are controlling a mech, but these mechs do not feel like your mech warrior mechs. They are really fast. Yeah, they're moving along.
It's an FPS fast-paced shooter.
Yeah.
So to me, like the theme is, you're in the fucking mech. So but I like the style of how the mechs look and getting the feel of using those big guns, right? Like that's always really fucking cool. The mobility, we're seeing them fly around. We're seeing a lot of, it seems like you can be mobile, you can be strong, right? But I like the idea because then you don't need a fucking zip line, right? But you have a jetpack and you're zipping around.
Yep.
It's a first person shooter. And like, again, they're not remaking the wheel on this, but it looks like they're doing their flavor very well.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. And this is early footage too. And if early footage looks this good, I'm excited.
Well, it is available for early access. You can play it now in its early access state. Again, the release date's to be announced, but check it out on Steam. It might be right up your alley, especially if you're into mech combat at all, or even just first-person shooters. I don't think you have to be exclusively enjoying either camp to enjoy this game.
Right.
I think it fills the role of both a solid mech combat game and a first-person shooter. Something to note is just the absolute verticality of the levels that we see here. Just these levels, while they don't seem huge horizontally, like they're not massive sprawling maps, they're very tall. And some where you can be flying and using rockets to propel yourself to other areas of the map. The verticality is important. So making sure that you have a very vertical landscape, I think, is important in these games. And it also really adds to the tactical element of hide and seek and taking advantage of the high ground.
And it honestly, the adding verticality to the levels adds a spoke to the wheel of a first-person shooter, right? Because generally, it's big levels, right? Like, but it seems like there's not one vertical level. All of these have a lot of verticality to them, right? So that is an additional spoke on the first person shooter wheel.
For sure.
Now, guys, now every list has to have a number one. And guys, if it isn't Mina the Hollower, I don't know.
Oh, bro, you blew your load.
Oh, what?
You blew your load. You blew your load.
I did. It's all over the place.
You got to do your honorable mention.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. Well, I thought honorable mention seems like an end of the night kind of a thing, but now, so my honorable mention is Below Stone, or Stone Below Stone. Shit.
Below the Stone.
Below the Stone. There it is. It's right here. Below the Stone. Now, for a while there, guys, as y'all know, we talked about it several times. We were playing the fucking, God damn it, the dwarf game.
Dwarf Fortress?
Not Dwarf Fortress, where we were miners, dwarven space miners. Rock and Stone.
Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep Rock Galactic. So, now as Below the Stone here, it is from Stroll Art. It's going to be on Steam. It's to be announced when the fat dwarf sings. Right out of the dwarf's mouth there. As we talked about playing Deep Rock Galactic a lot. Now this feels like how Deep Rock Galactic got started. I mean, right? The company had to start somewhere. But you got your cute little pixel dwarf. You're down in there. You're mining. There's goblins. There's worms. There's ogres. But this feels right up. It bumps right into that cozy-ish kind of because he's a cute little guy with a mining helmet. But crafting, building, dwarves. I mean, what else are they going to do besides mine and craft and avoid goblins?
True.
Yeah. So, Below the Stone is a pixel art roguelike about dwarves on the quest for in the deepest of depths for the bestest of riches. Yeah,
so you're plundering for loot, you're crafting, and it's multiplayer. I mean, now it is a roguelite, so it does seem like there's permadeath. I don't know whether you're going to be able to retrieve your loot on death or not. Who knows?
That's going to be part of the fun.
That's going to be part of the fun figuring that out, especially with a group of teammates that might want a little bit of that loot for themselves. So it looks like there might be some tricksiness happening in these games, especially in our group, and that always adds to the fun of everything.
That's a flavor. That's another layer.
That is a layer of flavor.
Man, I can't believe I gave away for these fucking games. Top
you
one.
Sure did, but I'm so sorry.
Damn it.
Hey, for everybody watching live, I know that the stream is having some difficulties here.
It's chunking a little bit.
It is chugging along. We're not sure what's going on. We do have thunderstorms in our area, so that might be what's going on. Internet may just not be having a good time right now. But for everybody watching, aside from live, we've got more games for you.
We do.
My honorable mention before we get on to our number one picks.
Oh, man, this would look fun, too.
The Last Hero of Nostalgia. Kind of like nostalgia. But yeah, so it's a very self-referential, very self-knowing exploration of the Souls-like. And it looks like a lot of fun. So I highly, highly recommend that you check out the official gameplay trailer from Gamescom. But Last Hero of Nostalgia is a satirical action-adventure brought to life by a twisted and wicked tale. Featuring hard but fair combat, full character customization, unique battle armor, and engaging narrative mechanics rich in lore, Nostalgia plunges you into almost certain death at every turn. It's by Over the Moon Games. It's going to be on Steam, and the release date is still to be announced sometime in 2022, so within the next few months. But you play a stick figure character. It seems like you might evolve further from that at some point or another and get some kind of armors and skins and that kind of thing. Not sure exactly how that happens, whether it's through gameplay or what, but you can see that our hero in this trailer is getting a little bit of loot and starting to become armored and more recognizable as a person. You can leave messages like you were able to in the Dark Souls games for other players, and all the ones they run into in this gameplay trailer are funny and very knowing of themselves. It looks like there's going to be some funny stealth mechanics as well involved. In the trailer, they showed our main protagonist going up against the wall and suddenly turning into a 2D character that's crawling along the wall. There's a lot of humor in what we see in the boss battles and the combat from the gameplay trailer. I highly recommend everybody go check this out. Go check out the Steam page, or at least check out a trailer up on YouTube. It's the Last Heroes of Nostalgia.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. It seems from the trailer like it is super self-aware, and it is breaking all the walls.
All the
walls. That fourth one, man. That looked like a lot of fun. I watched that trailer twice. That's how much fun it looked like. I liked that one.
For sure.
Now, every list.
It's time, Josh.
It's time. Every list, it has a top. Now, I gave it away a little bit before.
A little bit.
But it's so good that it doesn't matter because, guys, you're going to want to play it. It's going to be fun. You're going to want to play it. It's Mina the Hollower. Now, this comes from Yacht Club Games. Now, if you are thinking you've heard that name before, you are correct. They brought you Shovel Knight before. So, now, guys, this is coming soon. That's what they say. Not to be announced. Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Now, take control of Mina, a renowned hollower hurtled into a desperate mission to rescue a cursed island, whip foes, burrow through the ground, explore pixel perfect. And when I say pixel perfect, I goddamn mean it. Pixel perfect enemies and areas. Now, guys, recently I've downloaded. I did a thing. And I've been really into a Link to the Past recently. And this, I mean...
What Josh is saying is he's doing some nefarious stuff, a little something, so he can play some Link to the Past.
So I can play some Link to the Past. Because that is probably my all-time favorite Zelda game. And honestly, dude, everything from the menu to how you're moving, or like it feels like that. And Dude, I am so excited to play this game. This was a whole put down the note and just watch the trailer kind of a thing. The art's fucking amazing. I mean, yeah, Yacht Club Games, baby. The art's gonna be great.
Yeah. If you like Shovel Knight, I think was to the Metroidvania what Mina the Hollower is going to be to lovers of Zelda and dungeon crawlers, early dungeon crawlers.
I mean, like a puzzle adventure game. I don't know what it's
an adventure game, yeah.
Yeah, the puzzle, the puzzler adventurer, adventurer. Yeah, dude, it just looks so fucking good. Yeah, I love it.
It does. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this looks like somebody ripped off A Link to the Past.
Right? It looks like there's someone showing me an old Super Nintendo ad, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a whole industry for old new games. Mm-hmm. So there are still people independently making things like Super Nintendo games, whether they just be for emulation or whether they come out on a limited release cartridge. That's up to the developer. But this looks something like that. This looks straight up like it just came out of SNES era, but with all of the gameplay nuance that we expect from a modern title. And we can definitely see some evolution that's happened since A Link to the Past came out, implemented in this game. Just like what Shovel Knight did. It took all the nuance of, the Metroidvanias that happened after the major Metroids and after the major Castlevanias and put it into one cohesive game with a good sense of humor. And I can't imagine that we're going to get anything less from Mina the Hollower.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Looks so good, guys.
I can't wait. Honestly,
go check out its trailer.
Mina personally was going to be my number one.
I know, I stole it from you.
You certainly did. I don't feel bad about it though, because there were so many good fucking games that have come out recently that we haven't talked about. So before I get on to my number one, make sure you head on over to videogametango.com because there are a ton of games that we're not talking about. Josh and I came up with our top 5 plus an honorable mention. Mm-hmm. There's 30 more games that came out that we're going to have up at the blog at videogametango.com.
I had 4 more on my list that we just we had to cut along with Nick from the show tonight, guys. I mean, sure. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, but it is all there, and you can see it.
Yeah, check out videogametango.com. Go to the blog. It's all going to be there by the time this goes to YouTube and any of the podcast players that you use to listen to podcasts.
If you're in Australia, it's already there.
No.
I
don't know what time it goes up in Australia, but it's a weird time. Probably the middle of the day for you guys. My number one pick. This was... I had a hard time with this, like I was talking about earlier. My top 5, I basically just scrambled, and this one ended up number 1. And I don't feel bad about that. Not at all.
I mean, I don't think we talked about a bad game.
No,
we
because
talk about an unexciting game.
They're all fantastic. Now, Mina the Hollower was probably my number 1 pick, I'd say, out of everything that we saw today. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that it came from Yacht Club Games, and the fact that it looks like a modern take, not even a modern take, it's just the modern version of A Link to the Past. It definitely is inspired by it, but that probably would have landed in my number 1. This one is called Sprawl. Sprawl is a hardcore retro FPS red boomer shooter set in an endless cyberpunk megalopolis. Escape the walled city and take on militarized government of the Sprawl. Fueled by the blood of your enemies and a mysterious voice in your head, make your way towards the spire to topple whatever lays within. So it's not the most descriptive description of a game that I've ever seen, but good Lord, does the game footage look awesome. So we have this weird mix of high fidelity graphics, but also like high resolution. Imagine all of the HD remakes done as passion projects from, Doom 2, Quake 2, and Duke Nukem. Yeah, think of all of the modded versions of those games that you've played, and then throw it very purposefully as a skin in a boomer shooter where movement is obviously super key. We're watching this trailer, this guy doing these massive jumps and then jumping between walls, so using walls to jump back and forth. It looks like movement is going to be an extreme priority in this game. There's blood and viscera everywhere. It looks like there's classic power-ups that you can drop that are dropped by enemies when you kill them. It looks like classic health packs come in from enemies when you kill them. We only see a few guns. There is just, in the trailer, they show just a pistol, a shotgun, and some kind of kind of assault rifle. And that's really all we're seeing. So this is in pretty early development. It's still release date to be announced, not even a year clear on that. But this is a hyper stylized, really good, but also oddly polygonal and pixelated boomer shooter that looks awesome. Like it looks like it pulls aesthetics from Doom, Quake, Duke Nukem, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a hard time remembering this one. Came out on the PlayStation 2 as a shooter. Huge. It just escaped my tongue. It'll come to me eventually. Killzone.
I was going to say, is it Killzone?
Yes. So yes, it is Killzone. So yeah, like we've got like bad guys that look like the Killzone enemies.
Right.
Kind of Nazi-esque in their appearance. Very clearly very militarized. But yeah, this looks pretty sick. It looks like it's going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, it honestly, the Duke Nukem feels jumped out at me right away when I was watching this trailer. It looks like a lot of fun. I like a good boomer shooter. It has all the qualifications. The gore's there, and it adds that extra effect of the movement, right? Yeah. The movement being a big deal, and we've been seeing that in some of the boomer shooters coming out recently. We did one with the color scheme we talked about, had the creepy feel to it just a couple weeks ago.
Creepy color scheme feel that boomer shooter. Oh, Warlock 2.
It might have been. It was one of the ones that
we've talked a lot about. A lot of boomer shooters lately.
A lot about boomer shooters, but we showcased it just a couple weeks ago. But the movement seemed like a big deal, and it's not reinventing the wheel, but it's adding a spoke.
Well, we're actively watching this guy shotgun jump.
That's pretty cool, right? That's pretty cool.
So I'm excited. The game is Sprawl. All we have so far is an announcement trailer, not a whole lot else. It does have a Steam page up. Again, it's to be announced for its release date, so we're not sure exactly when it's coming out, or even if it's going to be this year. But this is a release that I can't wait for. Yeah, it looks like a lot. It looks awesome. But you know what? So have all these games.
They really did.
Yeah, really. At the end of the day, all these games have looked incredible. So I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. I think that is the end of the podcast this week. Again, I want to encourage you to check out the site, videogametango.com. Go to the blog. There are a ton of games that have demos available right now.
There really are.
We didn't really talk about any of the ones with demos available, but let me go through the list real quick. Akura. Akura is explore ancient puzzle-filled islands, meet strange new friends, and unlock epic secrets in an atmospheric world with a retro aesthetic.
Speaking of Zelda feels.
Yeah. Experience a creative new take on a classic puzzle genre in the open-world puzzle adventure Akura. So Akura has demo out. Check that out. I mean, just go to the Steam page at the very least. Now, we did talk mostly about PC releases as far as indie games go. These are going to be multi-release on a lot of platforms for a lot of these games. I will have all that information up at the website if you go check that out. So check to see if it's going to be coming to your favorite console or PC.
Let me give one that has a demo out.
Do it.
Flooded. Now, Flooded almost made my fucking list because it looked really cool. Now, it is kind of that base building management. So it is from Artificial Disasters. It's going to be on Steam, and it has a demo available now. Flooded is a reverse city builder in which you're optimizing your production to make sure as the sea levels rise that your town and your people don't die. So really relevant in this day and age. It's kind of dark demeanor set out right away at me, and I was like, this looks like fun. So, and it has a demo out now as well.
Well, honestly, if we're going to pop off when it comes to demos, I played one of the games that we talked about last week.
Oh, yes.
That we had demos out of. I know you didn't do your homework, sir.
I did not. I was a bad boy and played Rocket League.
But I sure did. I played Chained Echoes. So Chained Echoes is a JRPG style RPG in which you use mechs to do some of your fighting. So it is very similar to, it reminds me so much of something like Final Fantasy III, just early JRPGs. Now it's a little bit better looking, like a 32-bit console or something playing it. I really like the graphic stylings of it. There's a lot of mech fights and stuff like that that I really enjoyed. But I got about an hour into it, and the demo still isn't over, which is really impressive to me because I feel like I got to one of the very big, early, pivotal story parts. We've seen it in this trailer. I won't spoil it for anybody.
That's almost early access, baby.
But yeah, honestly, for a game that I figured would give you just a taste, it's given me a lot more than that, to the point where like I'm starting to get into the inventory system and the skills and ability systems. And I played for probably about 2 hours, and the demo still hasn't ended for me. So I figured I was going to be getting a lot less. I figured I was going to be getting kind of the intro, and that was all we were going to get, maybe a couple fights. But even aside from the mech combat, which is all not active time battle, turn-based. It's all turn-based, but it's got two different unique combat styles. One in the mech and one outside of the mech. And the trailer shows both. It doesn't really give you a clear view of what it is. I won't spoil it too much, but there is a gauge in the game that you actually have to manage while you're trying to be as efficient and good at combat as possible. The combat is not, I wouldn't say super challenging, at least from what I've played so far, but I've only just scratched the surface with this game. And there is a kind of a unique element to the combat that I've never seen before. It may have been done before, but I've never seen it. In that you have to manage the abilities that you use. Some abilities will cause stress on your party, and some abilities will alleviate stress on your party. And using your more powerful abilities can cause a lot of stress on the party, meaning that the enemy is actually going to get advantage against your party in the fact that you are going to heal yourself less and they are going to do more damage. It also increases they have like kind of a limit break style thing that happens both with your party and with the enemies. Your enemy is going to reach limit break faster because they're doing more damage to your party. On the other side of it, if you maintain balance, then you are rewarded by doing extra damage and by your limit breaks coming faster. And it's a game within a game. And this happens in both of the combat styles, both the mech and the outside of mech combat. And both of them are really cool. And it's really kind of a nice thing to have two unique combat styles in mech and out of mech, where you get totally different abilities just depending on, what part of the game you're at. And the fact that there's essentially two leveling systems is also really cool. So check out Chained Echoes. The demo is free on Steam right now. Like I said, I got at least 2 hours out of it, and I haven't reached the end of the demo. So I highly recommend you check it out.
I mean, shit. Fucking A. Give it a look. That's almost early access, y'all. Fucking A. 2 hours in, you still haven't reached the end.
Good Lord. For sure. So make sure you check it out. Josh, I rarely recommend you check it out. I think you'll like this a lot.
Well, I mean, you know my style, so I'd be willing to give it a go, man. I kind of dig, like you said, Final Fantasy 3, and that's what immediately jumped out at me, that graphic style.
Yeah.
Again, more polished, obviously,
for sure.
But it definitely has that old school feel. Yeah. And man, we talked about it a little bit. That retro feel. It feels good, don't it?
Yeah, and it feels like a little bit. I wouldn't say it feels SNES. It feels more. Did you ever play the Sega Saturn?
I did not. I didn't know anybody who owned one.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. It is one of those rare consoles. Like if you're a retro collector, you know that. The games can be wildly expensive because they did not make many of them. The Sega Genesis did not last as a console in America. So, even Sega kind of wants to forget about it. Or not the Genesis, the Saturn rather. I did play a little bit of the Saturn, and the Saturn, just like the PlayStation had at the time, plenty of still pixel art JRPGs and even Western RPGs, but JRPGs being the real, like, Japan was putting out the RPGs at the time.
Ooh, yeah.
Especially the best ones. And there were a good handful on the Sega Saturn, and I'd say this is a Sega Saturn-like experience as far as the quality of the game. Okay. A little bit more horsepower than the SNES and Genesis gave you, but we're not looking at 3D territory at all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but gorgeous pixel art. Highly recommend it. From what I've played, I will be picking up the full game. I look forward to its release, and honestly, I'm looking forward to finishing the demo as well. I honestly just haven't had enough time to play it thoroughly. So I'm honestly thinking about starting it over so I can try a little bit something different this time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. It's really good. Again, can't recommend it enough. Go check it out while it's on Steam with the demo. So, Josh, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap things up?
Speaking of Steam and checking it out, Steam has a pretty mighty sale going on right now for EA and some accompanying things. There was literally lists of games between 60 and 80% off. So, I mean, go check some of those out, guys. Just take a look at that Steam for sale list. And I mean, there was some steals in there. I was like, oh my God. I picked up Mass Effect Andromeda for $6, guys.
I'm sorry.
$6. I'm going to play it.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, $6, you can't go wrong.
At $6, like, I mean, that price point, that's near unbeatable. So
it is a game. It is playable. That is worth $6.
Yeah. Go check out those sales.
You pay double that to go watch a movie in the theater. So if you at least get 2 hours of fun out of this, money well spent.
Yeah, right?
Well, guys, I think that's gonna call it for the balcony time podcast. Oh God, for Video Game Tango. Oh Jesus. Speaking of which, we won't be doing balcony time this week. We are a man short, and while Josh and I can probably talk forever, that's what we've been doing since we sat down about 3.5 hours ago. So no balcony time this week.
You'll have to wait till next week when I talk about 2 episodes of the House of the Dragon.
Oh my God. We'll talk about that later. Good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Josh.
Catch us at that same tango time in the same tango place.
That's right.